Connor with Believe on COVID. I started this project because 2 years into COVID, my mom got seriously sick and is still sick because of COVID. And it's been really tough, and I wanted to help her as much as possible and people who have long COVID like her as much as possible. And when I asked them, they all said that the thing they needed most was to be believed.
Um,
Hello, I'm Connor with Believe Long COVID. What's your name and how long have you had long COVID for?
yes, my name is Marshall. I've had long COVID for just over 2 years now. I've had a couple infections at least, and my condition has generally gotten worse, although I have learned many techniques for how to manage the condition better, including changes in lifestyle.
That's good. What have you lost because of long COVID?
Let's see. Well, I've lost my ability to work as hard as I want to. I've lost my ability to exercise normally. I have to be very careful not to overdo it. It's a it's a pretty stark change. I have to I have to be constantly gentle with myself or I'll pay for it later. Because normally when you exercise, you can make yourself stronger ultimately, right? You work hard and then you rest, recuperate, and you get stronger for it. It's not like that for me anymore, at least not in a straightforward way. It's very complicated now. So yeah, I've lost a great deal for that. But that's it's not just overtly physical exertion is a problem either. Um, I have to be careful how I exert myself mentally as well. I was in charge of a high school debate team recently, and I've learned that doing so is making my condition much worse. So I've had to stop doing that. Um, I actually started doing it after I got COVID, but things got worse over time. And I realized I had to pull away. Fortunately, other people around me were able to observe me and notice what a lot of problems were, so they could tell me I needed to step back from that. I was in denial. Um, so yeah, I've lost that. I've lost I've lost my ability to just do much. I have to be careful not to overdo anything, which is always true. I mean, really, everybody needs to be careful in some respect, but this is pretty extreme. Um, my case is not as bad as some others. I am able to still do a lot of things. I'm still able to work. I just have to be careful with how I do it and what kind of work I can do. Primarily, I'm working as a substitute teacher, although I am taking a break right now because it is summer.
Yeah,
So I've also lost. I won't say I've lost social relationships altogether. I will say that they have suffered because my ability to interact with others is somewhat dampened. Um, I have a harder time with it. I have a harder time dealing with people, dealing with really anything. So, um, it's made all my relationships harder too. And
that's
my ability to be able to think about stuff. I mean, this affects my hobbies, right? This affects just everything I like doing.
yeah, you've lost a lot of things that you would love to do due to this uh chronic condition.
Hmm?
which makes it very difficult for you to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, it is harder to enjoy life in every respect. I have fortunately learned how to, I've learned how to cope with that in a number of ways. Um, I don't think we're gonna have time to get into nitty-gritty details, but I have learned how to feel better about feeling bad, basically. Cultivating meta emotion, how you feel about how you feel, something you have to do in order to cope with a condition like this.
What are some of your main symptoms?
Hmm. Well, post-exertional malaise, what I talked about, is probably the biggest new thing, biggest new symptom, because before I got COVID, I didn't really have that problem so much. Other problems I already had have been exacerbated. Um, because I've had some traumatic brain injuries in the past, and um, long COVID, in my case and many others, is a form of brain damage, apparently. Um, and yeah, so disorientation, um, and brain fog, memory issues, probably the biggest ones. Um, I could list off a number of others that are relatively minor, but are also problems. Mm. But I think those are the main ones, really. Brain fog, disorientation, memory problems, and post-exertional malaise. Although I did have a problem for a while where I I felt like I was under the influence of mind-altering chemicals, Um, I felt like I was on, you know, I don't know, like different kinds of medications and things. Uh, just like actually, I do still feel that way sometimes. I'll wake up in the morning and I'll just feel weird, in random ways. It's less severe than it used to be because that gets aggravated by a number of different kinds of stressors I've managed to lessen. So for a while, that was one of the biggest symptoms, was just feeling like I'm on some kinds of drugs randomly every day, never knowing what to expect.
That must be stressful not being able to expect what's going to go happen.
Yeah.
And your brain fog must be difficult, like go into a room, do something, and take a second and forget what you were doing.
hmm yeah, yeah, that happens all the time. It did happen somewhat before because I do have ADHD anyway, but it's gotten worse. Um, yeah, it's gotten much worse.
Have you dealt with people not believing in you, and what does that feel like?
Um, Fortunately, I live in a place where people are generally more enlightened about things of this general nature, of like invisible illnesses and stuff. I mean, I live in Redmond, Washington, you know, big tech sector here. I mean, there's a lot of ADHD and a lot of autism around here because of the tech industry. So there's a lot more acceptance of invisible illnesses and disabilities. So I do tend to get believed. Um, it's more on the internet, when I'll say something that people don't understand. Yeah, I'm lucky about where I live in that respect. Because I know people with long COVID who live in other places who have more of that kind of social difficulty.
How has long COVID affected your family and friends?
Okay. Well, it has, like I said, my relationships have been strained. Um, I wouldn't say I've lost contact with anyone, but I've just generally had a harder time with those interactions. It hasn't been as it hasn't been nearly as bad for me as it has for others. Um, I just I get more irritable. That's probably the main thing. I just get more irritable. But also I forget what people have told me, and that can be a problem too.
Mm-hmm. Uh, what types of things are hard for you now that you have long COVID?
Mm, well, yeah, pretty much everything. Like really pretty much everything. I struggle with normal things most of the time. Nothing's perfectly consistent with this, so um, things that I'm good at doing, I'm still usually good at doing, but I will randomly slip up just because of my brain not working consistently, and uh, that's bad enough. And then my body overall is just not it's not able to be as fit as it used to. So everything that comes with that, I used to be a martial artist. Uh, I found, I found last summer I experimented with that because I had been told that exercise would help, aerobic exercise. So I did as much of that as I could, and it set me back. It set me back by, well, I worked as out as hard as I could, and I spent 3 weeks mostly lying on my back. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, being vertical, being upright for long periods of time can be strenuous for me. I need to spend several hours of my waking day lying down, or I'm gonna have problems. I'll get nausea and lightheadedness and be dysfunctional and s- you know very tired. Um, in abnormal ways. So I think that covers all the bases.
It's got to be very stressful to have to deal
Yeah.
with this.
Hmm.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome, Connor. Thank you so much for your time interviewing me and, taking the trouble to get the word out there and educate the public. That will be a very big help. And, more people may have long COVID in the future because every time you get an infection, you roll the dice and you get worse every time too. So be careful out there. Try to encourage everyone else to be careful, not to get COVID. Um, yeah, just let this be a warning. Thanks, Connor.
Thank you for your time.